اللعين الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله وسلم على سيدنا ونبينا محمد وآله الطيبين الطاهرين اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. Dear mu'mineen and mu'minat, brothers and sisters, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept from all of us the a'mal on Friday, the past day, and allow us to live until the next spiritual station, the next Friday, inshallah, to gain more of the spiritual station of Friday that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala set for the believers. And if we knew how valuable it is, we would recognize it and make more or take more advantage of it. In the hadith we are told on the day of judgment it's like a bride, you know, in a gathering that there's a wedding, everybody's looking for the bride, yes? And she would be dressed in a very special dress and so on. On the day of judgment, Friday is like that amongst the days. Very special, very unique, and very, in fact, blessing. We have to take advantage of it, inshallah. For the next few weeks, and as much as we can, inshallah, I intended to speak about the stations of the hereafter, or manazilul akhirah. Unless we have an occasion that would interrupt our series, we'll continue discussing those. And I'm basing, for those who want to do readings and prepare themselves or even do further readings, I'm basing those on the book of our great scholar Sheikh Abbas al-Qummi rahmatullah alayh, may God have mercy on his soul. Some of you know him through the compilation of Mafatihul Jinan, that has become one of the necessities in the houses of the followers of Ahlul Bayt. You know, followers of Ahlul Bayt, they would have the Quran obviously, and Nahjul Balagha, the book of, some may have books of hadith, however, they would definitely carry and keep in their houses the book of supplications, and most of them nowadays they keep Mafatihul Jinan, again compiled by this great scholar and researcher Sheikh Abbas al-Qummi rahmatullah alayh. This book he wrote, he named Manazilul Akhra, and it's literally about stations after death. Akhra starts with death, by the way. Man mata faqad qamat qiyamatuh, according to one of the ahadith that we have. The start of the manazil, or the stations of Akhra, is none other than death. Now you might ask, why are we speaking about it and why this topic? It is very important for anyone who's traveling to prepare for their journey. Anyone who wants to go on any journey, whether it's a short journey or a long journey, it is important for them to make sure they prepare for their journey. They take some provision for their journey. If it's a longer journey, they need to make more preparations for it. If one is going on a few weeks journey, they need to prepare well for it. If one is going on a journey to another city, for example, that they're moving to that city, obviously they start preparing way ahead. Earlier we spoke about arus, you know, the bride. If she or he, the groom, is moving, when they get married, sometimes nowadays they get married to someone from a different city, and therefore they have to move. One of them has to move, or sometimes both of them are moving. Out of a sudden there's a lot of preparations ahead, months of preparation, because they're moving to another city altogether. And that's how us humans are. Any intellectual human being would be preparing for their journey. Now, if an animal wants to travel, maybe unintentionally, maybe it's a pet and the owners are taking it, the animal wouldn't make any preparation, yeah? They wouldn't be packing and preparing and reading about the weather over there. How is it gonna be? Do I need warm clothes or cold clothes? Or clothes for, the cold weather, hot weather. For animals, it doesn't matter. They don't. Perhaps some of them that they have, their journeys, they go to where the weather is right for them anyway. Little preparation for them. Nonetheless, for us humans, when we travel, the more wise and intellectual a person is, the more preparation they make for their journey. And you'll find some, they go as far as making sure that they check that they have little things, like maybe even a nail clipper, a file, a cream, a balm, whatever you call it, for the lips, or anything that they may need, they make sure that they pack and prepare for their journey. If we, as believers, realize and recognize that death is a journey, that life in general is a journey, and death is a station on that journey, and we realize that we're going to the eternal place. We're not going from one place that we've lived for a few years and now to another place for a week or two, or for a few years, or for the rest of our lives. We think the rest of my life, God knows how long it's going to be. We're not doing anything similar to this world. It is totally different. We're going to the eternal home, to the home of eternity, to the home where we would be staying literally for the rest of our lives. SubhanAllah, our dear brother Imran, he recited, I don't know if it was intentional or it's coincidental, happened that he recited Surah Al-Fajr. And it's in there, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, teaching us in the words of one who departs this world, يَقُولُ يَا لَيْتَنِي قَدَّمْتُ لِحَيَاتِي. He says, I wish I prepared and paid forward for my life. يَا لَيْتَنِي قَدَّمْتُ لِحَيَاتِي. For my life. In other words, real life is Akhra, not here. And a person who departs and realizes that this is the real life, and it was almost like we were in a dream, or I would rather call it a nightmare. You might say, why a nightmare? In this life, we're in a nightmare. There is pain, there is suffering. This is part of this life. Akhirah for believers will have none of those. Akhirah for one who prepared for it would have no pain, no suffering, no worries. There is no stress over what is to happen, and no worries, no care about what happened before. La khawfun alayhim wa la hum yahzanun. Nothing, just beauty. إِلَّا قِيلًا سَلَامًا سَلَامًا. It is complete peace. There is no worries about an enemy about to attack, a nuclear war, a president going crazy and wanting to fight the world. There's no worries about anything, absolutely nothing. This is the reality of Akhirah. Akhirah, in fact, is the real life, and it's the most beautiful life if we prepare for it. It is up to us, however. يَقُولُ يَا لَيْتَنِي قَدَّمْتُ لِحَيَاتِي. The real life. Wake up from this nightmare of dunya and all its sufferings, all its pain. And you might say, why would God put us in it? That's part of the test. لِيَبْلُوَكُمْ. He created all this life and death. الَّذِي خَلَقَ الْمَوْتَ وَالْحَيَاةَ لِيَبْلُوَكُمْ. To trial, put us through trial, test us, and find or display to us. لِيَبْلُوَكُمْ. And display to us who is the best. Not that God doesn't know, but to display to us and prove to us. And therefore, while we realize and everybody knows, deservingly so, He puts everybody in their places, and inshallah puts us in neighborhood of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the messenger and the family of the messenger salawatullah wasalamu alayhim ajma'een. All that through what we deserve. The real life is there. This is a dream, a nightmare, call it whatever you want to call it. And then we would depart and realize الناس نيام, the hadith from Imam Ali alayhi salam. He says الناس نيام فإذا ماتوا انتبهوا. People are asleep. When they die is when they wake up. إذا ماتوا انتبهوا. انتبهوا, they become alert. Not just awake, but alert. Sometimes you wake up and you're a little still, confused and not completely aware or alert. No, إذا ماتوا انتبهوا. They become completely and fully aware as soon as they depart this world. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Holy Quran that when they die is when they see everything. فَكَشَفْنَا عَنْكَ غِطَاءَكَ فَبَصَرُكَ الْيَوْمَ حَدِيدٌ. When we remove the veils, then you can see everything clear. This is an expression, بَصَرُكَ الْيَوْمَ حَدِيدٌ. It's an expression to say one sees very clear, strong vision, that nothing is blurry, nothing is confusing, nothing is fuzzy, there is no illusions. It's all clear. When we die, it is all clear. This is the reality of it. And so, the real life is there. The real journey starts there. This is almost like a bridge. Nabiullah Isa, Jesus, peace be upon him, in a hadith narrated by Imam Baqir alayhi salam. He says, he told his people, he said, this world, this dunya that you're living in, is like a bridge. Qantaratun. Therefore, pass over it, don't build over it. That is not your home. This is not your home. Don't make all your investments, don't put all your efforts into something that's temporary. Amazingly, often people speak of this, and some of you may have seen this picture or this analogy that some people share, that when you're young, you have all the time, but you have all the health, but you have no money, in most cases. And then when you're, working hard in the working time, you have time, you have health, but you have money and you have health, but you have no time to enjoy it. And eventually comes the time where you have time, you have money, but you have no health. The knees start hurting, back starts hurting. You have to, in some countries, this is one of them here, you start living on pills. You have to have your medications, and how many, and they have to make sure they don't, they don't have counter effects with one another, or whatever they call it. When two medicines together may cause some problem or something. So basically, in this world, it's never complete. That's what the analogy is saying. It is never complete. In this world, Imam Ali alayhi salam, in a poem, after he loses and Fatima Zahra salamullah alayha departs this world, he says, in this world, not even lovers would last for each other. And oftentimes the separation is death. even the real sincere lovers, they are separated by death. They cannot last here for one another. لكل اجتماع, in the famous poem, من خليلين فرقة. They have to depart. They have to part from each other. And then he says the example of that is me losing first Rasulullah and then soon afterwards losing Fatima Zahra salamullah alayha. This is another suffering and pain that comes to us in this world. And it's painful. Though we know it's only temporary, we know it's the reality, it's the truth that we cannot escape. وَالْمَوْتُ حَقٌّ, we know. But when one suffers a loss of a loved one, it's painful. And this is dunya. Akhra, on the other hand, would have none of those. There is no suffering, no pain. There is none of the loss of a loved one, loss of health. This is all for dunya. وَلَنَبْلُوَنَّكُمْ بِشَيْءٍ مِّنَ الْخَوْفِ وَالْجُوعِ وَنَقْصٍ مِّنَ الْأَمْوَالِ وَالْأَنفُسِ وَالثَّمَرَاتِ. All these type of trials that we go through is for dunya. And the good news is for وَبَشِّرِ الصَّابِرِينَ. If you're patient throughout all these trials, then good news. You have passed your test, you will go to a place no suffering whatsoever. So now the question is, on a short journey that we go in this life, we make preparations. Obviously, nobody or no wise intellectual person would set on a journey without any preparation. At the least, one might say, okay, I only take cash with me, some people, or I only take plastic with me, credit card. Okay. The least that you could do, although that's not necessarily the wisest thing, because sometimes you may get stuck in a situation where they won't take your plastic or even your paper. You need to have something on you. Nonetheless, we have to make some sort of preparation for a journey. Now we know that we're going on a journey to our eternal place, final place. And where we end up, this is where I want us to really focus and pay attention to. Let us not get together and not take anything home with us. Let's take something with us. And let's take this part, if you can only take this part and nothing else. And I'm sure it would suffice and it would be beneficial for every one of us. We are going on a journey, no doubt. We are going to our eternal places. Inna lillah wa inna ilayhi raji'un. We're returning to God. We're returning and we're going to our final places. Where we end up there is up to you and I. This is a fact. Where we are born in this world is not up to us. Did anyone decide which family they're born in? Rich or poor, black or white, east or west? None of it. None of it is up to us. Which country, which race, which class, none of it is up to us. We came here. Where we end up there is up to you and I. In this world, if you're going on a journey, and let's say we're going on a journey to a city, to a particular city for holiday, and they tell you that you could end up there in a 1-star hotel, 2-star hotel, 3-star, 4-star, 5-star, what would you aim for? And it is very simple, very easy. There are a few things that you have to do and take care of, and you can end up in the best places. And if you don't, you'll end up, or maybe on the street, or even worse. It's up to you and I where we end up there. And in Akhra, it's not 1-star, it's not homeless versus 1-star hotel versus 5-star hotel versus, I don't know, above that even. They have certain things now above, way above that, certain suites and so on. In Akhra, in this world, there are a few levels that you can, separate them. And the differences between them are very little. Even on the street you can sleep still. And even on the street, you'll end up eating something. And in the 5-star hotel, how much can you eat? Or, okay, more expensive food, whatever it is. Though we strive, and it's beautiful to strive for what is better, or what's best in fact. In Akhra, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَلَلْآخِرَةُ He says, انظر كيف فضلنا بعضهم على بعض. In this world, we decreed that some higher, some lower. However, Akhra, وَلَلْآخِرَةُ أَكْبَرُ دَرَجَاتٍ وَأَكْبَرُ تَفْضِيلًا. In Akhirah, there are more stations, more steps or levels, and there is way more gaps between them, tafdeel. Way more gaps and difference. From one level to another, it's way more significant. The difference there than what it is in this world. And it's up to us where we end up there. It wasn't up to us where we end up here, or where we start here, but it would be up to us where we end up there. And guess what? This is my final reminder. We all know it all this we know it. And inshallah, in the following weeks, we'll work on the different stations and what we can do to make it easier. Because yes, there's a final abode, but death is the beginning of the stations of Akhirah. And there are stations including Barzakh and the Day of Judgment and so on. And what would make it easier, inshallah, we'll go through that. But one last word or one last reminder about Akhirah versus this dunya. We said in Akhirah, many stations, many levels, عدد درجات, عدد آيات al-Quran. In one of the ahadith we are told as many ayat in the Quran as many levels. And I wouldn't necessarily say it's literally by the number like 6,000 something ayat, therefore 6,000. It is ayat in the Quran. Within the ayat there are ayat, meaning the signs of God in the Holy Quran, meaning the lessons, meaning the teachings of the Holy Quran. And the more you act, the higher the level. This is my take on this. It's not necessarily one ayah means one level. Okay? It's the lessons there, and it could be many of them. For instance, we have one ayah that has several teachings or several lessons. That's several things that you could act upon, and the differences in the levels. The fact that nobody can escape is that in Akhirah, once you are appointed to a station, to a place, it is it. There is no bargaining and bartering and trying to get higher and cheating the system and doing something that could get me to the higher level. It is it. Once we are assigned to a place, to a station, to a specific level, it is it. This is your place. You can't go any higher. I would love to. That was for dunya. It's not here. This is literally what it is. There's a hadith from Abu Dharr al-Ghifari, Radwanullah ta'ala alayhi. He says, narrating from Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he says that a group of people in paradise, God has given them so much that they could not expect anything beyond that. Hatta yamallu. Not literal malal, but rather to suggest that there's nothing that they could imagine that they don't have. And they think they have it all until they notice the ones on a higher level than them. As soon as they see them, they start having regrets not being given that station. They're in a place that they could not imagine anything else. But as soon as they see the ones above them, now they know that the value of that level, and therefore, now what it is, I can't describe, none of us can describe. All of the ayat of the Holy Quran that describe the rewards of Akhirah are just to make it possible for us to imagine, to understand something. Otherwise, the ahadith that clarify about these ayat, they say, مَا لَا عَيْنٌ رَأَتْ وَلَا أُذْنٌ سَمِعَتْ. The things that are there are nothing like anyone has seen or heard. Nothing like it. In this dunya you have honey. In Akhirah there is a description, a river of honey. Is it the same? No. مَا لَا عَيْنٌ رَأَتْ وَلَا أُذُنٌ سَمِعَتْ وَلَا خَطَرَ عَلَى قَلْبِ بَشَرٍ. Not even possible for anyone to even imagine it. So what we're given, descriptions that we're given in the Holy Quran, is just a hint, just to make it possible for us to understand there's a difference between fire and honey. Fire burns you and honey you enjoy. But that's not what it is, or that's not all of it. There's a lot more to it than what the ayat describe that we cannot even understand or comprehend. Now we are there and you see what is above and you want what is above. Can you get it? You cannot. Here you can plan for it. And that is why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala constantly reminds us of preparing for it. وَتَزَوَّدُوا. Make sure you increase. Just like you try for doing it for this dunya, you want more and more in this dunya, do it for akhirah. فَإِنَّ خَيْرَ الزَّادِ التَّقْوَى. It is the best ammunition and provision that we should have is taqwa. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to grant us the opportunity to prepare for our journey, to prepare for our akhirah, and to prepare for those stations that He has promised. We ask Him to make us amongst those who listen to what's said and follow what's best. وآخر دعوانا أن الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله وسلم على سيدنا ونبينا محمد وآله الطيبين الطاهرين. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. If I may request mu'minina mu'minat to remember all the marhumin, especially those who passed away recently, from our family members and our community members, to remember them all with the recitation of Al-Fatiha ma'a salat ala Muhammadin wa ali Muhammad. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad.